Okay, so unions. All right, so a labor or a trade union is an organized group of workers who unite to make decisions about conditions affecting their work. There are over 60 unions representing 14 million workers in this country. These jobs kind of include like teachers, farm workers, nurses, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, etc. There's actors, like directors, producers, there's like a ton of people all over the country that are part of a union. People who are part of a union usually get like higher wages and pay. They limits to their work hours, benefits like retirement, health insurance, vacation, sick leave, tuition and reimbursement, all kinds of things. They tend to get better working conditions, and they also get better workplace health and safety. This is because workers are uniting to get those things for themselves and for the people that they like that are all working in the same business. Unions are a democracy. This is where officers are elected by the members to make decisions on their behalf. And a local union is a bunch of locally based workers with a charter from a national or international union that all then like work together to make the national or international union work together. They negotiate a collective bargaining agreement or a CBA with the employers to establish rights. So basically, the idea is the more people are part of this union, the more workers are part of this union, they have more buying power with the employers. Because if a majority of these employers' workers are union members, then they have to talk to the unions. They have to sign a collective bargaining agreement, or they really don't get enough workers to do their jobs. Union costs are covered by members' dues, which cost about $50 a month, depending on the union. And unions also set standards that protect non-union workers. So it doesn't matter if you're in the union or not, you get standards that protect you and help you. So like a lot of times if an industry is 25% unionized, so only a quarter of them are unionized, non-union workers actually make about 5% more in like their salary and stuff than workers who don't have a unionized industry. Okay. Now, there are some states in the country that have what they call right to work laws. Okay. These are state laws that do not allow labor unions to form certain agreements with employers. So, this means that you don't have to join a union if you don't want to, and you can't be forced to join a union because they negotiated something that benefits you. Okay. So, if a union is trying to negotiate better pay for all the workers at a factory, even if some of them are not union members, and they get that better pay approved, in a right to work state, they can't make actually an agreement. They can't do anything. They can just try and negotiate and get something passed, but they can't make an agreement. Now, on the flip side, some unions would use that agreement as a way to force non-union workers to pay dues to the union for doing that negotiation, but in a right to work state, they can't legally be allowed to do that. Now, a lot of the right to work states, there are huge, like a whole bunch of them. Most of them, quite frankly, are southern states. They tend to be Republican states. A lot of them are in the Midwest or Southeast, that kind of stuff. California is not a right to work state. In California, we have plenty of unions, and unions can sign all kinds of agreements and stuff like that. Now, I want to talk about California Prop 22. This is a proposition that's coming through in fall 2020 in November, okay, on the November 3rd ballot. It's called the App-Based Drivers as Contractors and Labor Policies Initiative. So a vote for yes for this proposition basically says that all rideshare and delivery drivers are going to be classified as independent contractors. Okay, a no on this proposition basically allows California Assembly Bill 5 to decide if workers are employees or contractors. Okay, so what is all of this about? Well, in 2019, Assembly Bill 5, or AB 5, was created and signed into law. It created a test to decide a worker's status as an independent contractor, and these were the kind of questions that they asked. Is the independent contractor free from the hiring company's control and direction in the performance of their work? Is the worker doing work outside the company's usual business? And is the worker engaged in established trade, job, or business of the same nature as the work performed? Okay, now the thing is that AB5 basically made it so that rideshare people and delivery drivers could not be classified as independent contractors anymore. It instead made them basically required the companies to hire them as employees. But if they hire them as employees, then that means that those companies have to pay things like unemployment insurance, and they have to, take out Social Security and taxes from their paychecks, and they have to give them more hours and steadier income and all of those kinds of things, and provide things like health insurance. And Uber and Lyft don't want to do that because it's going to cost them a lot of money. Okay. Now, Prop 22 was created and financially backed by these companies: DoorDash, Lyft, Uber, Instacart, and Postmates. Okay, they put $110 million as of June 30th, 2020 into this campaign to get Prop 22 passed. Okay, and they can lose a lot of money or be put out of business if, and the people who work for them could lose their jobs and stuff like that if this proposition is not passed. If we say no on Prop 22, then that's what will happen. However, if Prop 22 is passed, then all these workers would get a bunch of special labor laws passed. So if Prop 22 is passed, then that means that the workers would get labeled as independent contractors, so they would not have to get taxes paid, but they also get special protection. So the workers will get paid up to 120% of minimum wage, just like tipped workers. Drivers who work at least 15 hours per week will get health insurance subsidies each month. Companies that would have to provide and make available job accident insurance to cover at least $1 million in medical and income expenses, and they would get disability payments. The companies like Uber and Lyft and stuff would have to make available or provide accidental death insurance. They would have to have anti-discrimination and sexual harassment policies, training programs for the drivers, traffic and accident avoidance training, sexual assault and misconduct prevention training. They would have to have zero tolerance for DUIs, so you couldn't be like a ride-sharing driver if you had a DUI. They would have to require criminal background checks for all of their drivers to make sure like rapists and criminals and stuff were not like driving people around everywhere. And they would, if somebody falsely impersonated a driver, so if you used like somebody else's account to be a driver, that would actually be a misdemeanor crime. Like you would get arrested and put in prison for, or get a misdemeanor for that. So the total contribution for the Yes on Prop 22 campaign has $111 million contributed. Cops unions, the 5 corporations, DoorDash, Lyft, Uber, Postmates, and Instacart, they all like put money in this. They support this, and a lot of business and commerce organizations say vote yes on this bill. They claim that if rideshare workers become employees with set shifts, availability and affordability of these services would be limited, and smaller cities or rural areas wouldn't be able to afford it. So they would basically, you wouldn't be able to have Uber or Lyft or like Postmates in like a rural area or community. People like Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, labor unions, teachers unions, transportation and food worker unions all say vote no on Prop 22. So Prop 22, voting no on Prop 22, received a lot less in contributions. They only received $1.9 million in contributions. And vote no says that these workers deserve to earn minimum wage, because before this whole AB 5 passed, rideshare workers and delivery drivers didn't get minimum wage. They got whatever they got, like a small fee from the like companies to do the job. And so this way with AB 5, they earn minimum wage. They earn Social Security and reimbursements for their costs, for overtime, and they earn the right to organize under AB 5. Now, if we vote no, then that means they get to keep all of this stuff, okay? So basically the opposition says that Uber, Lyft, and all these companies, they lost in court. Like they brought it to court saying, hey, this isn't fair. We can't run our business this way. And the court was like, tough shit, you're abusing your workers, so no. And the opposition says that now Uber and Lyft, they're trying to get like spin things their way. They're just trying to pour money into it and try to convince people to vote yes so that they can get their way. So I'm not trying to tell you how you should vote. Okay, that's up to you to decide. You can research this issue a little bit more, or you may have your own opinion. But what we're going to do in the project and then in the subsequent activities is I want you to make a decision. Are you going to tell people to vote yes or no, and why? Okay, think about the workers' rights. Because if you're voting no, then it's about people getting the basic rights that they should have as workers. If you're voting yes, maybe it's because a vote for yes will allow them to keep their independent contractor status and keep their jobs and keep the flexibility that a lot of those workers rely upon for those jobs. But then they'll also get a lot of benefits because the voting yes does come with some benefits about minimum wage and insurance and security and all that kind of stuff. So think about the law, think about what's being proposed, and I want you to make a decision. And in your project, you're actually going to create a piece of information that's going to try and convince people in the country or in the state what they should vote for. Okay, so make a decision, pick your side. Uh, I really look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. So that's it for me. Take care. Have a good one, guys. Bye.